Oh, Philpy. Test match cricket is dead, they said.
Ah,
Varney had it going to 4 days only. 5 days too long.
yeah, what a flog.
What an absolute cracker. So Australia, we win by 184 runs. Got the job done the last day. Obviously lead the series 2-1. Now, how did you spend the last day? Were you just glued to the seat? Although the draw got very short. If you were keeping an eye on the betting markets, if that's your inclination, draw got very short at one point.
Yeah.
I wonder if a lot of people just put the cue in the rack. They went down the pub or decided to cut the grass.
You're involved in some of the market updates and whatnot, coal miner. That would have been a tough gig for the person doing the cricket updating throughout that whole 5 days because it swung like keys in the bowl. It was just, it was swung one way, it swung the other. I just sound like Gerard Whateley for a second there. Hang on, I didn't mean that at all. But it was unbelievable.
Unreal.
And is your partner, she a cricket fan at all?
I wouldn't say fan. No, I wouldn't say fan.
Yeah. Brooksy?
A bit more like a tongue in the fan. No, no, she's not at all. She's not at all. But was following it. A lot of people in the workplace are of Indian descent, and the TVs in the hospital were just cricket all the time.
Oh, yeah.
She was writing the stories, and as you were watching it, you're just going, I don't think you can get much better than this. The full 5 days. Needed to get them out in the last day. They started rolling that first session with 3 wickets.
It was like a 5-part.
India showed a bit of, they resilience.
Yeah.
Bit of grit.
It had all the drama. It was like a 5-part Netflix series. Like every day had something.
Yeah. Well, Amazon might have a 5-parter called The Test.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, but how good it's going to be good to watch that episode of the Test. But it just, I guess we have to start at the start. Of course, we had a 19-year-old kid on debut who just came out and stole the entire show, and it was like unbelievable viewing, wasn't it? It was just,
I think the Hello Sport podcast boys said it perfectly. I think they tweeted or put it out on Instagram. It was watching Sam Konstas bat is equal parts stressful and exhilarating.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to feel watching him.
Yeah, he wasn't very orthodox. In fact, you called him what, Brooksy?
Yeah, Greek Orthodox.
Unorthodox. Greek unorthodox, yeah. And because I think the whole country was watching that first over and he played a miss, and you're like, oh, what's going on? Yeah. And then for him to have, the nous to go, well, this isn't working. And that first ramp shot, I don't know if you guys did the same, but I stood up and went, what are you doing?
Was it nous? Was it nous or just a big set of canasters?
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere in between.
And what do they call that shot? The
ramp?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think... If you're a Greek, that's not a ramp. That's a concrete driveway on a slight slope. And like a few cars parked up there. The Greeks don't ramp, mate. The Greeks have a driveway that goes up and it's concrete.
But when he played India in Canberra, there was no Bumrah, fair enough. But he did show that that flair to get his 100 in that match. And that was probably what was in the back of the mind of the selectors when they picked him for this 4th test. It was a bit of a ballsy selection. There was a lot of people feeling sorry for McSweeney and feeling that maybe someone else should have been that person to make way. And was this time? Like we've had Ricky on the show here saying probably another, Ricky Ponting that is, 12, 18 months more for Sam Konstas. But yeah, it was awesome and it was such a great way. You felt to start the test and you felt that was sort of the first thing you saw, the dominoes just falling to be such a great test down there in Melbourne.
Tell you who we're going to ask about it, who was in the stadium for that moment, for Sam Konstas' first innings. Adam Collins. So you heard his voice on the highlights before. He's going to join us in the second hour of the show. So we're going to ask him what it was like. Because you could see it coming through your TV screens.
It was crazy.
And John was rocking.
You know what it did as well is up until that point, Australia hadn't had a great start at all in any of their last tests. In fact, for quite a while now, since Warner potentially had retired. And other players have been under pressure because of that fact. So Khawaja has made no runs. Marnus has been struggling. Smith had been struggling until the 100. And it just relaxed everyone. So he came in, he took the pressure off Khawaja. You could tell with Khawaja, he just started to play a few shots of his own. And Marnus then all of a sudden looked up and about as well. And Smith goes on to get 100. So he took all the pressure away from those guys. Bumrah, who is just incredible, averaging 14 for the year or something. And we saw a stat, Brooksy, that said, was it 200 wickets, lowest average?
Under 20.
Yeah. And the names below him.
There's only 3 other West Indian greats.
Yeah,
that
Joel
were there.
Garner.
Curtly Ambrose. It's
Yeah.
just unbelievable. Like seeing I think the last time I felt like this about a dominant overseas player was when Lara was out here when he got the 277 at the SCG.
Oh, yeah.
And I was pretty young then. Like I don't think we've seen anyone that dominant over here since that Lara summer.
Yeah.
And he's just awesome to watch, and he's such a good,
He seems like a good bloke. Yeah.
great bloke. Like, it's tough. You wish he was sort of an Aussie. Like he was part of the cartel, but
He's that good
yeah.
and he's that dominant that I've started calling the rest of the Indian team Sean Rudder in 2001 Knights Grand Final because it's like Andrew Johns basically just won that on his own. And he had Sean Rudder at 5'8", like a guy who's never really played 5'8" before. Sorry, Sean Rudder, if you're listening.
When has Pat Cummins officially become an all-rounder? So his figures, he was named man of the match, obviously. 3 for 28 in the second innings, 3 for 89 in the first. Very solid with the bat, 49 and 41.
Run out.
Is he an all-rounder?
Is Mitchell Starc considered an all-rounder? I think you need to average, 25? Is that?
I don't think officially they would be considered as all-rounders, but Cummins definitely has those traits in his game.
Graham from Brisbane's chimed in here.
Yeah.
Philpy.
Well, Pat is ranked 8th out of the world all-rounders, and March doesn't even feature, so the ICC are already classing him as one.
There you go.
So
what is the official? Graham, text in because we've got no clue. Text in again 0457 736 736. What is the actual cutoff, or what are the averages with both bat and ball to put you in that category?
Yeah, from memory, I feel like Mitchell Starc was recently announced as an all-rounder, technically.
Mitchell Starc?
Yeah. No, because he scored a fair amount of runs, which made it weird that then Cummins was batting above him in the game, tourist.
Yeah, the stats don't think exactly make out what they think, because Mitchell Starc is apparently the 12th best all-rounder in the world.
There you go.
Nathan Lyon is the 21st best all-rounder in the world. So,
based on
based on the weekend, maybe, but no, I think that's just ratings taking in bowling and batting. They must find some sort of rating
Right.
to find the
on that
rankings.
list. Has Scott Boland come down from 4,830 to
Scott Bowler scrolling, still scrolling.
Still scrolling for Boland?
Still scrolling. Yeah, lots of scrolling.
I love that. Actually, and we're talking cricket as it is, but Bumrah's decimated the top order that much that our tail sort of frustrated him a lot, and he couldn't get him out. But I threw it out there after a dozen cans that maybe Sydney Test, Shawnee, we switched the batting order around.
I did see that one.
Yeah.
Got a like out of me.
Yeah.
Don't mind it. He was enormous, though, Jasprit Bumrah. So another 9 wickets, including 5 in the second innings. Now has 30 wickets for the series. Like, it's just it's incredible. He's now, I saw that the stats been sort of shoved in our face at every opportunity, but he's now averaging the least, or he's got the best bowling average for those that have taken more than 200 wickets, I'm pretty sure. So, and there was some absolute elite names on that list. Clearly, best bowler in the world at the moment, Brooks.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's unbelievable how much the Indian team relies on his bowling. 9 spells, I think, in that second inning against in Melbourne, and then just the numbers. Like, even the calendar year, 71 at 14.9. Wisden had a stat there, first bowler to take 70 wickets in the year, but average under 15.
That's
crazy.
insane.
It just,
And the other thing is too,
talking about him being one of the greats of all time.
all
off
forms
back
of the game.
this.
All forms of the game, he does it. So he's just as good in the limited overs, and he's just as good in the T20s. And you know what blew me away in this test was the amount of player miss. Like, we saw how many wickets he got. Like, and there was more nicks in a Greek wedding there for a while. But like, the play and misses were just unbelievable.
We might get a call off the Greek embassy at this rate.
No, the Konstas family, they listen. They listen.
Greek Orthodox.
They're big listeners.
Let's stick with the Greek theme. And we spoke about him before. We've got some audio to us of what Steve Smith had to say on young Sam Konstas.
Man, he's mad. I think he really enjoyed himself under the lid there. He was chirping. I think at one point Jaiswal was actually trying to hit the ball at him to shut him up a bit. But no, look, he's brought great energy. He's brought a real confidence, and it's nice to see him start so well in his first Test match. And I think he's got a bright future.
He's mad.
What do you reckon he's talking to the other players about? There's no one in their 20s, is there? In the team?
No, everyone was at least 30 or above in the Aussie 11. other than Sam.
Is he doing a bit of skibbity Rismus and, you know?
Yeah, be skibbiting his little heart off, wouldn't he? What about his Instagram page went from, I think he had 4,000 followers before he made the debut. He's now got over 215. Tourist is screwing his face up, like said something wrong there, but I'm going with that story. It's got to be one of the biggest sort of rises up the Instagram followership of all of 2024, doesn't it?
His Tinder profile, do you think he'd be going?
Might be getting a little bit of a workout.
He'd be going okay with it,
My missus doesn't care about cricket at all. If you ask her now to name the 3 cricketers that she can name, she only knows 3 cricketers. Number 1, Shane Warne. Number 2, Stephen O'Keefe.
Oh, yes.
Number 3 is now Sam Konstas. Those are the 3 cricketers she knows.
Wouldn't sock love that, just being wedged in between.
2 spinners. The 2 greatest spinners of all time. And Sam Konstas.
Yeah, and look, it was great because he had that, you know, the freeness and the air of a 19-year-old who just didn't seem to care, whereas all the other Australian players have history with India, and it seemed that they'd taken it on board, and players like Bumrah had gotten in their heads a bit, and he just came out there and just rattled them, and it was great to see. And maybe we should have more young kids in there. Kohli didn't like it.
That to me was the funniest thing of the 5 days, because when that happened, when Kohli beelined for him on the pitch, I was like, oh, this can't be good.
Yeah.
But he outbatted Kohli for that test. Kohli was terrible.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
Granted, he's, you know, one of the great Indian batsmen of all time, but he struggled.
Yeah.
He struggled from day dot. The airport incident, then that. He obviously was going after Konstas from the get-go, verbally and then physically.
Yeah. Then he
And then
barbecued his mate.
He barbecued Jaiswal at 82. And
then, wasn't that great?
Then nicked behind shortly after, and then did nothing in the second innings when they needed him the most on the biggest stage in Test cricket.
Yeah.
We're talking a few people that might not be there in Sydney. Like, you wouldn't consider it, but on recent form,
I think he's partial to a barbecue as well, because he's barbecued about 13 times before, I think I saw.
Yeah, right.
But he's only been dismissed on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
Out of those run outs. So
now, do you guys are you in the Kohli's a flog camp? Are you I'm firmly in that camp. He's the top flog in world sport for me. And
I'm trying to think of another word for it. I can't.
No, but the thing about it is, you know, when he comes out the bat, there's a bit of a rule amongst Australians from past series where we don't talk to Kohli. Don't talk to him. He loves the engagement. He loves the banter. And so how would you, I'd find it so, as a person that just despises him, to go out there, I'd want to just be chat. It must be so hard not to say anything to him.
I thought after Smith's ton that he would respond.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
No.
And that's I was surprised with that. Everyone else pretty much stood up in that test. But yeah, I was just surprised at how ineffective he was for India. And yeah, probably if he steps up in that second dig and bats through and shows his leadership and what he's achieved over his career, last 5 years haven't been good for Kohli.
No.
I think there was 1 year that he was half decent. But yeah, you can show that he's at the end. It shows that he's at the end of his career.
In all forms of cricket, the highest he's averaging this season is 24, and all the rest are below that.
I mentioned the controversial, in inverted commas, decision of Jaiswal, and I think we're going to hear from the great Ricky Ponting. Then we might get your thoughts as well. This is what Punter had to say about it.
Yeah, they can make of it what they like. That clearly hit the glove. And according at the time, Jaiswal actually started to walk. As soon as his Aussies went upstairs, he started to take a couple of steps away. Snicko hasn't proven it to be correct, but the umpire picked up the deflection, froze it where the ball was on the end of the glove. As far as I'm concerned, there's no argument whatsoever.
No argument whatsoever?
I love Ricky. I'm sticky for Ricky. Like I love Ricky Ponting. So whatever he says, I love that he doesn't. You know, some Aussie commentators dance around the relationship with India a lot during the Kohli Konstas thing. He was adamant. He went to the replay. He's like, look at him. He walks across. There's no room for that in the game. And even with that Jaiswal, he was like, nah. Look, you saw it. That's it. Yeah. You saw him walk as well. He called that out. He's a very good commentator, Ricky Konstas.
He needs to be a lawyer. That was so concise.
Yes.
And no further questions, Your Honour. I think he's got to go. Like, the BCCI vice presidents come out and just said how bad it was. Sharma went around and round in circles in the presser, but ultimately said it looked like it was out, but couldn't define it through Snicko. The Snicko... the person that created Snicko, or whatever the technology specifically called now, he said that glances, you don't get much audio off a dismissal like that. So sometimes it won't register on Snicko. But what punter said, it's exactly what happened, and that you got it, and he was walking.
Yeah, and the technology.
He knew.
There's no hot spot, but there's a ball tracker. And on the ball tracking thing, have you ever seen as many hits to the cags in a test match?
Wasn't there? I think we're breaking a record.
Like,
maybe that's a Guinness World Record, Philpy.
I think it was. It was just continuous cag hitting. Like Marnus copped it about 4 times to the cags. He went down a few times. It was that's what they could have used the ball tracker for.
The leading edge goes straight down to where Nathan Lyon is at that fly slip, deep third slip on the boundary. And he's got to walk back a wicket manufactured for Boland, as it turns out. And India lose a 6th when they needed a partnership.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. You've got 2 fielders there and you still go for that. You missed the previous shot and look where you've been caught. You've been caught a deep third man. That is throwing away your wicket. And not in the situation that India was. You have to understand the situation as well. You cannot say that that's your natural game. I'm sorry. That is not your natural game. That is a stupid shot. That is letting your team down badly.
191 for 6 now.
Philpy, you wanted a cags counter. I want a stupid counter. Is that 5 stupid?
Stupid, stupid, stupid.
I walked around and called my son that for the next hour after that. I was like, he'd go, Dad, I'm hungry. Stupid, stupid. It had a lot of Frank Costanza
It did,
in it
didn't
for me. Like,
that was outstanding. That was thanks to the ABC for that absolute gold there from the great Sunil Gaveskar. Hard to argue with the great man. Who did he cut off then? Someone tried to chime in with something.
Harsha Bogle.
You're still here? We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade. But if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.